Welcome back to Worlds and welcome BUSIO to the Verizon Post Game Interview. Of course, you can see Masu being interviewed on stage. But BUSIO, we're so happy to have you here, man. We were big upping you across so many of these. You were a demon in the early game. I think you were the favorites to win, but did it go to expectation? Did the game play out how you thought it would?
I would say so. I thought we were playing pretty well, and we had pretty good tactics in the swap situation. So, yeah, I would say it went as expected.
Did you guys get bored? That Raptor fight, are we going to talk about it, BUSIO?
I mean, we got to go. Like, their ADC's in my face, and I make Q flash W into my team angle. I got to go, even though it's like 3v5. We got to go.
It was 3v5, yeah.
Yeah.
But then did Masu need to flash into the Raptor pit?
We'll see in review, but I respect it. I respect it.
Okay.
I mean, when you kill a champ, it gives you gold, so like, fair enough.
I mean, that's true. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But like, it was a slower early game than because we expected Team Secret to come in and be like hyper aggressive. We thought they'd be super violent. Do you feel like you stopped them from that aggression, or do you just feel like they were playing a little slow today?
I don't really think their comp let them be too violent pre-6.
That's fair.
And then I think we just chose our fights well, and then we fought well. You know, we targeted the right champs, so there wasn't much they could do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when we look back at your early game, it felt like you were really active on the map pretty early on. Seemed like you guys were comfortable in the swap as well. Was there anything special that you really tried to do in this game as the Alistar? We were kind of surprised to see you pick it so early, but it definitely is a pick that worked out for you.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't trying to do something in particular. You know, the opportunities kind of just presented themselves. Like I had a mid-roam, and then the fight in the river, top river early was very easy, but yeah, I don't think I did anything crazy.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen Team Secret Whales a lot domestically. Teams have kind of tried to avoid fighting them a lot. We saw you guys like give up the grubs, but then up for the fight, and after that was the comms, so like give them space, but you saw a window after that.
Yeah, I mean, we used a 0 ult to kill the Aurora mid on my roam, so we didn't have the best situation for grubs. And then in addition, I think the Mordekaiser moved all the way up. So, you know, you get the grubs, but Mord moved up, so we're going to gain something elsewhere. And then with the tempo we gained from that, we got a good fight later. So, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, we had the 20-minute fight as well. We don't have to break it down in super big detail, but that was kind of the moment where we're like, is there a comeback opportunity? No, FlyQuest just won a 4v5. It really seems like there's probably nothing left. We can highlight it here. But I am curious because the secondary battle that you were interviewed about earlier today, dancing, thirst traps, what are we getting? What are the FlyQuest fans, what are the people of the world getting after a win this dominant?
Whew. I'm not sure. You know, I normally do thirst traps, but like, I can't just be doing the same thing all the time. But I'm absolutely horrible at dancing, so I feel like I need coaching, and then I can do some dancing videos.
You could combine the two. You could do some sort of like flex dance, which would then impose both dominance while also showcasing the moves both on and off the Rift.
Okay. Can you coach me on that?
Dracos, can you coach us on that?
We can hit it up, for sure. Okay. I'm too old to know Fortnite dances, but we'll figure something out, brother. We'll find it out.
Aren't we too old for Fortnite dances?
Yes, 100%, but whatever. We'll figure it. By our powers combined, we can find Shocks, who will be here eventually, and then she will teach you. You just have to keep winning, brother. It's that simple.
I'm also wondering, because you posted that picture of you flexing in the elevator and said you were just in the elevator with Faker. Were you flexing while he was in the elevator?
No.
Okay, because we were wondering, you know, you don't have an aura off against the GOAT.
Sometimes you got to be willing to intimidate. Now, I do want to talk about T1 and Genji as our next matchup, so we're going to go through this with you here and now. You guys obviously had the pleasure or displeasure of playing against T1, and I first want to talk about a little bit about Owner. The read, Vetty, that you had was kind of T1 really does feel like they live or die by Owner. What's your opinion on that take, having played against them?
He's definitely making a lot of space, but I think T1's just 5 elite players. They all have that playmaker in them, I would say. And in our match, I just think we weren't very warm, so it was quite one-sided. But I bet if we have a rematch against them, it'll go much better.
Oh, that's interesting, because the thing for me is that Owner, especially when we think about the year for T1, has been so instrumental in both when they've been struggling. You were talking a lot about how in their regular season, even in their bad games, he was the guy that was saving them. Yeah. And then it just feels like that he's that driving force, as you're saying. So I'm curious as to, does it feel like the pressure is different when you're playing against that Owner carrier combo?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. They're like some of the best players in the world. Even just like the way they fought in our game. Like I was playing Nico, I walked up to the Wukong and I got completely owned. And then we just lost the game. I'm like, yeah, I got outplayed. That's my bad, you know?
Look, it happens to the best of us. I do want to talk to you a bit about that support matchup. Ox, you found this out as well. Of course, we saw Esports World Cup. You guys were able to play against Genji. You've now played against Keria. What's your impression about these two players, the kind of the things that make them unique? Is there any player that you like more in terms of what they're bringing to the table or like how they play more?
What were the two players?
Keria and Duro.
Oh, okay.
Support matchup.
Yeah, I would say Keria's more of a playmaker, and he gets a little bit more creative. But then sometimes the downside to that is, like, his play doesn't work out. While Duro generally does the standard thing and doesn't make mistakes and plays very well, but he's a bit less of a space maker, playmaker, but they're both equally clean mechanically. Like, laning against them, they have top-tier mechanics on range supports, melee supports. So I would say they're similar, but just Keria's more of a playmaker, while Duro's does the standard thing perfectly.
Having played against Keria's Bard and being obviously a great Bard player yourself, was there anything he was doing, any things he did that you kind of caught you off guard or really impressed you?
I mean, I would just say he's just playing the champ.
Playing it really well,
limit.
yeah.
Is there something specific? I mean, he does a lot of like cross-map ults to save his teammates and buy time, you know? So, you know, when he's walking around, he's always looking everywhere, going for like long-range ults, and the ult travel time is quite long when it's at a great distance, so that's a good one he does.
But I am curious, given that this is a best of one, which we don't get to see very often between these two teams, but if you were preparing for both of them, thinking about either as a fan or as a player, when you think about these two matchups, where would you be thinking is the most important role and the things that you'd be the most cautious of for both sides?
For Genji, like facing Genji, if Chovy's having a good game, they have a very simple game plan, you know? He's pushing, owning, just developing an advantage just naturally without anything really happening. So if you put a stop to that, you have a pretty good chance of having a competitive game. And then for T1, I would say they're very like snappy with how they fight and engage. So Genji should be focused on making sure they're not overly taking space when they can't, and making sure they're always aware of where their teammates are on the map and not giving T1 pick opportunities.
For you personally, if you were to go to knockouts and you were to draw into either of these teams, which do you think your team would match into better?
I would say T1, because Genji this year has, like, on average, been a stronger team. But we have faced Genji many times, and like each time is getting closer and closer. So I'd like to face them and hopefully beat them eventually. You know, we're due. So like. Surely this time we got them.
You're so due.
Either way, you are due. For the sake of the West, I will say I'm open to see it as well. What is your prediction for today, though? It's a best of one. Obviously, it could go either way, but do you have any strong predictions? Is the world's magic there for T1 yet?
In a best of one? In like a best of 5, I would say Genji, but in a best of 1, I can see T1 winning, you know? Just having 1 or 2 good plays and snowballing that hard can win, so I'm going to give it to T1.
I completely agree. T1 only ever lose a single game in the Swiss group stage, and they've already lost it.
I love that.
I don't think it's possible for them to lose
History,
again.
narrative, statistics. Ox?
I think Genji are going to lock in.
Okay, maybe the voice of reason, perhaps. That's enough from us here at the desk. Thank you again, BUSIO, for joining us, and congrats on the win. Over to you guys for this historic matchup. We've seen it a ton. Let's look at it one more time.